At the will reading, everyone watched the lawyer. Nobody watched me. My children were already dividing up what they'd get. I could see it in their faces, the way their eyes tracked Mr. Halloway's hands as he arranged papers on the conference table. Grant had brought a leather portfolio with tabs already labeled. Properties, accounts, vehicles, personal assets. He'd color-coded them. My oldest son, always the planner. Always the one who needed everyone to see how responsible he was. Tessa sat to his left, spine straight, hands folded. She was wearing what she called her serious business outfit, a navy dress that probably cost more than my monthly mortgage. Her lips were pressed into a thin line of fake concern, the expression she used when she wanted people to think she was being thoughtful. I'd seen that look 1,000 times, usually right before she said something that sounded caring, but left scars. Owen slouched in his chair at the end of the table, trying to look relaxed. His partner Jade sat beside him, quiet as always, her eyes moving between faces like she was reading a script none of us could see. Owen was the youngest, the one who'd always played the nice guy card. "I just want everyone to be happy," he'd say, right before doing exactly what served him best. Elise sat next to me. My wife, 52 years old and still the smartest person in any room. She wasn't looking at the lawyer either. She was looking at her phone, scrolling through something with the calm focus of someone who already knew how this meeting would end. Every few seconds, she'd tap the screen, saving something. Timestamps, probably. Elise loved timestamps. Mr. Halloway cleared his throat. The room went quiet except for the hum of the air conditioning and the distant sound of traffic 12 floors below. His office had floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked downtown Charlotte. Nice view. Made you feel important, sitting up here looking down at everyone else. "Thank you all for coming," Halloway said. His voice was steady, professional, the kind of voice that had delivered news, good and bad, for 40 years without flinching. "I know this is unusual, but as requested by Dean and Elise, we're here to review certain estate arrangements and trust conditions." Grant leaned forward. "We appreciate you coordinating this, Mr. Halloway. I think we all just want clarity on how things are structured, especially given Dad's recent health concerns." I almost laughed. Recent health concerns. That was Grant's favorite play lately. Imply I was declining without saying it directly. Plant the seed, water it with concerned phone calls, harvest it at family dinners. Dad seems forgetful. Dad's having trouble with details. We should really make sure Dad has proper oversight. I was 68 years old. I ran a property maintenance and lock service company with 43 employees, 16 commercial contracts, and a client list that included half the major buildings in the city. I could tell you the security protocol for every property we serviced. I could tell you which locks failed most often and why. I could tell you the entry code for the storage facility my children thought I'd forgotten about. But sure, health concerns. "Dean's health is excellent," Elise said without looking up from her phone. "His last physical was in September." Tessa made a soft noise, something between a sigh and a hum. "We're just worried, that's all. It's natural to want to make sure everything's in order." "Everything is in order," I said. The room shifted. 3 faces turned toward me like I'd interrupted something important. Grant's expression flickered, just for a second, with something that might have been irritation. Owen smiled his nice guy smile. Tessa's concern deepened, became more pronounced, the way you might look at someone who just confirmed your worst fears by insisting they were fine. "Of course, Dad," Grant said. "We know you've always been thorough. We're just here to understand the structure." Mr. Halloway tapped the papers in front of him, straightening edges that were already straight. "Let's proceed with the review. The primary estate documents are unchanged from the versions you've all seen. The house, the business assets, the investment accounts, all of those are held in the family trust, with distributions contingent on the conditions outlined in the trust agreement signed in 2019. Grant nodded like he was following along with a lecture he'd already studied for. He probably had. Grant was the type who'd read every document, highlight every clause, make notes in the margins. He liked control, not the loud kind, the quiet kind. The kind where he'd smile and agree and say, "Let's table that," while positioning himself as the only reasonable person in the room. His wife Paige sat beside him, scrolling through her phone. She had that look people get when they're documenting everything for social media, candid shots, behind-the-scenes moments. She'd probably already posted something from the parking garage. "Important family meeting today. Grateful for the people who raised us." Heart emoji, prayer hands, 3,000 likes. "However," Halloway continued, "there is an addendum that was executed last month." The room got quieter. Grant stopped nodding. Tessa's hands tightened in her lap. Owen sat up straighter. "An addendum?" Grant's voice stayed level, but his fingers tapped once against his portfolio. I wasn't aware of any recent changes. You wouldn't be, Elise said. She still hadn't looked up. It was between us and Mr. Halloway. Paige's thumb stopped mid-scroll. Tessa glanced at Grant, one of those quick sibling checks that happened below the surface of polite conversation. Owen cleared his throat but didn't say anything. Halloway reached into his briefcase and pulled out a second envelope. It was sealed with a red clasp, the old-fashioned kind that looked official and final. He set it on the table between the other documents. The addendum addresses a specific condition, Halloway said. It was added to protect certain assets and ensure compliance with the original intent of the trust. Compliance? Tessa's voice had an edge now, the fake concern slipping just enough to show the calculation underneath. That's a strange word choice. It's a legal term, Halloway said. It means following the rules that were agreed upon. Grant was staring at the envelope. I could see his mind working, trying to figure out what was in there, what it meant, how it changed his spreadsheet of expectations. He'd probably spent weeks planning how this meeting would go. He'd probably rehearsed his talking points. Reasonable, rational, concerned about making sure Dad and Elise were taken care of, while the responsible adult children managed the complicated stuff. I think we should just cut to it, I said. Everyone's busy. Elise finally looked up. She met my eyes and nodded once. Then she put her phone face down on the table, screen still lit. I could see the edge of a spreadsheet document reflected in the glass. Halloway opened the envelope. He pulled out a single sheet of paper and set it on the table facing Grant. The text was brief, maybe 200 words total. Halloway didn't read it aloud. He just waited. Grant picked it up. His eyes moved across the lines, then stopped, then moved again, slower. His jaw tightened. He set the paper down very carefully, like it might explode if he moved too fast. This is... He paused, recalibrated, smiled. This is obviously a misunderstanding. It's not, Elise said. Tessa reached for the paper. Grant didn't stop her. She read it, her perfect posture cracking just slightly, shoulders curving forward. She handed it to Owen without a word. Owen read it twice. Then he looked at Jade. Jade looked at me. You can't be serious, Owen said. His nice guy voice was gone. What replaced it was younger, rawer, the voice of someone who'd just realized the script had changed. I'm completely serious, I said. Paige leaned over to read the paper over Owen's shoulder. Her eyes widened. Her phone was still in her hand, but she wasn't documenting anymore. She was gripping it like a lifeline. The paper said this: effective immediately, all trust distributions and access authorizations are contingent upon the return of materials removed from Secured Storage Unit 447 at Queen City Storage, 2801 Eastway Drive, Charlotte, NC. Said materials include one lockbox containing original property deed addenda, signed trust instructions, and financial ledgers. Parties with access have 24 hours from notification time, 11:47 a.m., December 30th, to return materials to the designated escrow agent, Mr. Raymond Halloway, or forfeit all trust claims, property access, and associated benefits. Non-compliance will trigger automatic execution of alternative distribution terms as filed under seal with Mecklenburg County Civil Court. Grant was the first to speak. His voice was very calm. Too calm. What exactly do you think we took? Mr. Halloway reached into his briefcase again. This time he pulled out a photograph. 8x10, color, high resolution. He slid it across the table. The photograph showed the interior of a storage unit. Metal shelves, cardboard boxes, plastic bins, and in the center, on a rolling cart, a gray lockbox with a combination lock. The photo was time-stamped, November 14th, 3:47 p.m. Below it was a second photograph. Same storage unit, same shelves, same cart. But the lockbox was gone. This timestamp read, December 18th, 2:14 a.m. That's not proof of anything, Grant said. Halloway pulled out a third document. This one was a keycard access log printed on security company letterhead, a list of dates, times, and card numbers. One line was highlighted in yellow. December 18th, 2:14 a.m. Card number 4478B. Registered to Paige Morrison Grant. Paige's face went white. I didn't. Someone must have used my card. It could have been stolen. Was it stolen? Halloway asked. I'd have to check. Check now, Elise said. Paige fumbled with her purse. Her hands were shaking. She pulled out her wallet, flipped through cards, held one up. It's right here. See? Someone must have copied it. The facility uses encrypted proximity cards, I said. They can't be copied without the master programmer, which is kept in a safe at the security office, which requires two-factor authorization to access. One factor is the facility manager's biometric scan. The other is mine. The room was very quiet. You gave us those cards, Owen said. You said we could use the storage unit for family stuff. That's what we did. Family stuff? I repeated. Is that what you're calling it? We didn't take anything that wasn't ours, Tessa said. Her voice had shifted into crisis management mode, the tone she used when she needed to control a narrative. If there's been a misunderstanding about what belongs to who, we can sort that out. There's no need for threats. It's not a threat, Halloway said. It's a condition of the trust. You were all given copies of the trust agreement when it was executed. Section 7, paragraph 3 specifically states that removal or concealment of trust assets constitutes grounds for forfeiture. We didn't remove trust assets, Grant said. We removed personal documents, things that were stored in a shared space. Were they your documents? I asked. Grant's face did something complicated. The responsible mask slipped. Underneath was something sharper, something that had been waiting for permission to come out. They're family documents, he said carefully. We thought it made sense to consolidate them in a more secure location. More secure than a storage facility with biometric locks and 24-hour surveillance. More accessible, Tessa cut in. We were trying to help. You're getting older. We didn't want important papers getting lost or damaged. I smiled. Not a nice smile. The kind of smile you give when someone insults your intelligence while pretending to care about you. You were trying to help, I said. At 2:14 in the morning, without telling me, using a keycard you knew I'd logged. We were going to tell you, Owen said. When? When the time was right? The time is right now, Elise said. She picked up her phone and turned it so they could see the screen. You have 23 hours and 38 minutes. Grant stood up. He didn't slam his chair or raise his voice. He just stood, smoothed his tie, and looked at Mr. Halloway. This is coercion, he said. You can't threaten to disinherit your children because of a storage unit access issue. I'm not threatening, I said. I'm enforcing terms you agreed to, terms you signed, terms you clearly didn't expect me to use. We'll return whatever you want returned, Tessa said. Her voice had gone soft, conciliatory. She was trying a different play now. Daughter to father. Misunderstanding to resolution. If there's been confusion, we can fix it. Let's not do anything drastic. You have until 11:47 tomorrow morning, Halloway said. If the materials are returned to my office by that time, with all contents intact and verified, the trust distributions proceed as originally outlined. If not, alternative terms take effect immediately. What alternative terms? Owen asked. Halloway closed his briefcase. I'm not at liberty to discuss sealed filings. If you comply with the return condition, you'll never need to know. Grant looked at his siblings. Something passed between them, some old childhood signal refined into adult code. Then he looked at me. You're really doing this, he said. Yes. Over a box. Over what's in the box, I corrected, and over the fact that you took it at 2 a.m. without asking. We're family, Tessa said. Family doesn't do this to each other. You're right, Elise said. She stood up and collected her phone. Family doesn't. She walked to the door. I followed. Behind us, I could hear chairs scraping, whispers starting, the sound of people trying to figure out what just happened and what to do next. As I reached the door, Grant called out, Dad, wait. I stopped but didn't turn around. What's really in that box? He asked. I looked back then. All three of my children were standing now, Paige and Jade and Brett hovering behind them like a second chorus. They looked worried, confused, angry, young, despite the gray in Grant's hair and the lines around Tessa's eyes. Everything, I said. And nothing. Depends on what you do in the next 23 hours. Then I walked out. Elise was already at the elevator, holding the door. When I got inside, she pressed the button for the parking garage and finally allowed herself to smile. Think they'll do it? I asked. Oh, they'll try, she said. But they don't know what they're trying to do. They took the box because they thought it was important. They don't actually know what's in it. Because they never opened it. Because the combination I gave them only works once, Elise said. After that, it resets and triggers the log. The elevator descended. 12 floors, 10, 8. In the polished metal doors, I could see our reflections. 2 people in their 60s who'd spent 30 years building something and 3 years watching their children dismantle it piece by piece while smiling and calling it help. Do you think they kept it together? I asked. Or did they divide it up? Grant has it, Elise said without hesitation. He's the oldest. He'd never let the others hold something that important. But he'll have hidden it somewhere he thinks is clever. How clever? Not very, she said. Grant thinks being methodical is the same as being smart. The elevator doors opened. The parking garage was dim and cool, full of echoes. Our car was parked near the elevator, a 10-year-old sedan that Grant had once suggested we replace with something more appropriate for people of your stature. We got in. Elise pulled out her phone and opened an app I didn't recognize. The screen showed a grid of dots, some green, some red, some yellow. "What's that?" I asked. "Property access monitor," she said. "Every building we service, every lock we installed, every keycard reader. The green dots are normal activity. Yellow is unusual, but not wrong. Red is someone trying to access something they're not authorized for." I looked at the screen. Most dots were green, a few scattered yellows, and one red dot, blinking. "That's Grant's house," Elise said. "Someone just tried to use an old access code on his garage door. 3 times. Failed 3 times. "Owen?" I guessed. "Or Tessa. They're scrambling. They know we're serious now, so they're trying to figure out where Grant put the box. They're checking the obvious places first." She put the car in gear and drove toward the exit. As we passed the elevator bank, I saw the doors open. Grant, Tessa, and Owen spilled out, still talking, hands gesturing. Brett was on his phone. Paige looked like she was crying. We drove past them. They didn't notice. They were too busy turning on each other. 23 hours, I said. Elise smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. It was the smile of someone who'd spent 3 years watching her family get picked apart and had finally decided to pick back. "I'm going to enjoy this," she said. "Me too." We drove out into the December sunlight. Behind us, in the concrete shadows of the parking garage, my children stood in a circle and tried to figure out what they'd stolen and where they'd put it, and how badly they'd just screwed themselves. The countdown had started. We didn't go home. Elise drove us to a coffee shop 6 blocks from Halloway's office, the kind of place with exposed brick and expensive espresso machines and baristas who wrote their pronouns on their name tags. We sat in the back corner where the Wi-Fi signal was strongest, and Elise could spread her laptop across the table like a general planning a campaign. "They'll call soon," she said, opening a document that looked like a spreadsheet had a baby with a surveillance log. "Grant first. He'll try reason, then Tessa will try emotion. Owen will be last because he's still pretending he's neutral." "You're sure about the sequence?" "I've watched them work this pattern for 3 years," Elise said. She didn't look up from the screen. "Every time they wanted something, every time they pushed, Grant leads with logic, Tessa follows with feelings, Owen comes in as the peacemaker who just wants everyone to get along, which coincidentally means doing what they want." My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I let it ring. "That's Paige," Elise said. "She's testing to see if you'll pick up for someone you don't recognize." The call went to voicemail. 10 seconds later, another buzz. Text message. I opened it. "Dad, it's Paige. Grant's phone died. Can you call us? We need to talk about what happened in the meeting. There's been a misunderstanding." I showed the text to Elise. She snorted. "He's using Paige to seem less aggressive. He thinks you'll respond better to a daughter-in-law than a son." "Will I?" "No." I put the phone face down on the table. Another buzz. Another text. This time from Tessa. "Dad, please call me. I'm worried about you. This doesn't seem like you. Are you feeling okay?" "There it is," Elise said. She's pivoting to the health angle, planting doubt. "This doesn't seem like you means you must be confused, means we should probably get power of attorney. They've tried that before. And they'll try it again. They think persistence is a strategy." A third buzz. Owen this time. "Hey, can we talk? Just you and me? No lawyers, no drama. I think this got out of hand and we should fix it before it gets worse." I looked at Elise. She was typing something, fingers moving fast across the keyboard. On the screen, I could see columns of data. Dates, times, access codes, card numbers, IP addresses. "What are you building?" I asked. "Evidence chain," she said. "Every time they accessed that storage unit in the last 6 months, every time they used a keycard or entered a code or logged into the facility account. I'm cross-referencing it with their calendar data." Their calendar data? Grant syncs his work calendar to his family calendar to his phone. Tessa shares her location with Brett. Owen has a fitness tracker that logs everywhere he goes. She looked up. People document their own lives now. They just don't realize they're creating audit trails. My phone buzzed again. Voice call this time. Grant's real number. I didn't answer. 2 minutes later, Elise's phone rang. She glanced at the screen and smiled. "That's Grant calling me," she said. "He's trying the divide and conquer approach. Talk to Elise, convince her this is an overreaction, get her to soften Dean's position." "Are you going to answer?" "Not yet." Let him leave a voicemail. Let him say things he'll regret later. We sat there while her phone rang and rang. Around us, the coffee shop hummed with the usual afternoon noise. Students on laptops, freelancers on calls, a book club arguing about an ending they didn't like. When Elise's phone finally stopped ringing, she opened her voicemail on speaker. Grant's voice filled the space between us, tight and controlled. "Elise, it's Grant. I need you to call me back. I don't know what's going on with Dad, but this isn't okay. We've all worked hard to maintain a good relationship, and I think he's making a decision based on incomplete information. I'm not sure who's advising him, but this whole 24-hour ultimatum thing is extreme and honestly kind of cruel. We're his kids, we love him. If there's been a miscommunication about the storage unit, we can fix it, but threatening us with disinheritance? That's not healthy, that's not normal. And I think you know that. Please call me. Let's talk about this like adults before this gets ugly." The message ended. Elise deleted it. "He called you cruel," I said. "He called you confused," Elise replied. "That's worse. Cruel is a choice. Confused is a condition. He's building the narrative that you're not competent to make decisions, which would give them grounds to challenge the trust. Except we predicted that." She turned the laptop so I could see it. On the screen was a video file. She pressed play. The video showed me sitting in Holloway's office 2 weeks earlier. Holloway sat across from me, another lawyer beside him as a witness. The camera angle was professional, clearly documented. "For the record," Holloway's voice said, "please state your full name and date of birth." "Dean Andrew Morrison, born May 3rd, 1957. "And you're here today of your own free will?" "Yes." "Has anyone coerced you or pressured you to make changes to your estate planning?" "No." "Are you currently taking any medications that might impair your judgment?" "Same thing I've taken for 10 years. Dr. Morrison's records are attached to this filing." "Have you recently experienced any cognitive decline or memory issues?" "No." "Are you aware that the changes you're making to your trust will potentially disinherit your children if certain conditions are not met?" "I'm aware." "And you understand the consequences of this decision?" "Completely." "Can you explain, in your own words, why you're making this change?" I paused in the video, looked directly at the camera, spoke clearly. "My children have systematically removed items from my secured storage without permission. They've used access I gave them for emergencies to take materials they believed I wouldn't notice or couldn't protect. They've had conversations, in text messages, in emails, in their group chat that they don't know I can see, about managing me, about making sure I don't make bad decisions, about protecting their inheritance by controlling my assets before I die. They think I'm declining, they think I'm vulnerable, they're wrong, and I'm putting conditions in place to prove it. If they return what they took, everything proceeds as planned. If they don't, they've demonstrated they care more about control than trust. Either way, I'll know what my family actually is." The video stopped. Elise closed the laptop. "That was 2 weeks ago," I said. "Holloway has 3 copies. One in his office safe. One filed under seal with the county clerk. One with a third-party attorney in Raleigh who doesn't know any of us. If they try to claim incompetence, that video comes out. They'll say I was coached. By 3 different lawyers, including one they've never met. They can try." She checked her phone. "It's been 40 minutes since the meeting. They're panicking now. The calls will get more aggressive." She was right. Over the next hour, my phone lit up like a Christmas tree. Text messages, voicemails, missed calls. The tone escalated from concerned to frustrated to angry to desperate. "Tessa. Dad, you're scaring me. Please talk to us. Whatever you think we did, we can explain." "Owen. This is insane. You're going to blow up the whole family over a storage unit? Over some papers? How is that even rational?" "Grant. I've consulted with an attorney. This kind of coercive trust condition may not be legally enforceable. You're putting yourself at risk. Call me." "Paige. I can't believe you'd do this to Grant after everything he's done for you. He's been handling your business problems for months, and this is how you repay him?" That last one made Elise look up. "Business problems?" she said. "What business problems?" I pulled up my email on my phone, scrolled back through the last 3 months, found the thread I was looking for, and handed it to Elise. The emails were between Grant and someone named Trevor Marks at Piedmont Commercial Properties. The subject line read, Morrison Property Services, Contract Restructure. Elise read in silence. Her expression got very still. "He tried to renegotiate your service contracts," she said quietly, "without telling me. He told them you were transitioning into retirement and he'd be taking over business operations. He offered reduced rates in exchange for extended terms, which would have locked us into below-market pricing for 3 years. which would have tanked the company's value right when you were planning to sell it. I took the phone back. I found out because Trevor called me directly. He wanted to confirm the retirement story before signing anything. Grant told him I was getting forgetful and might not remember discussions we'd had. Elise's hands were flat on the table. She was breathing slowly, the way she did when she was trying not to lose her temper. He was going to take the company, she said, step by step. First the narrative that I'm declining, then the helpful son managing contracts, then the formal transition, then the realization that I'd signed something months ago that I didn't understand. Except you didn't sign anything. No, but they don't know that. Elise picked up her phone and opened a new document, started typing. What are you writing? I asked. Timeline of business interference. We'll need it later. She didn't look up. Did Grant try this with anyone else? 2 other clients. Both times the client called me to verify. Both times I had to reassure them I wasn't going anywhere. Did you confront him? I asked him about it. He said he was just trying to help streamline operations, make things easier for me. Then he suggested I should think about stepping back from day-to-day management, for my health, for your health. His words. Elise stopped typing, looked at me. Her eyes were hard. They weren't just taking papers from a storage unit, she said. They were taking everything, slowly, piece by piece, smiling the whole time. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Brett, Tessa's husband. I put it on speaker. Dean, it's Brett. Listen, I think there's been a major miscommunication here. I work in finance, I look at contracts all day, and I gotta tell you, this whole 24-hour return thing is a mess legally. You're creating liability for yourself. What happens if they physically can't access whatever you think they took? What if it's been moved? What if there's a dispute about what actually belongs in that box? You're setting yourself up for a lawsuit. Let's slow down and think this through rationally. Are you giving me legal advice, Brett? I asked. Silence. Then, I'm giving you friendly advice. Do you know where the lockbox is? Longer silence. I don't know anything about a lockbox, Brett said carefully. I'm just saying that making threats, it's not a threat. It's a contract condition that your wife agreed to when she signed the trust papers. Tessa didn't know about any condition like this. It's in Section 7, Paragraph 3. Would you like me to read it to you? I've read it. That clause is about trust assets. Personal documents stored in a private facility aren't trust assets. The property deed addenda are trust assets. The signed trust instructions are trust assets. The ledger documenting family loans and repayment terms is a trust asset. Another pause. I could hear Brett breathing. What loans? He asked. Ask Tessa, I said and hung up. Elise was smiling. That's going to cause a fight. Good. Brett didn't know about the loans? Nobody knew about the loans except the kids. I kept a record of every dollar I gave them over the last 15 years. Down payment help, car loans, emergency funds, business capital. $50,000 to Grant for his house. $35,000 to Tessa for Brett's consulting startup that went nowhere. $40,000 to Owen spread across his 20s when he couldn't hold a job. You kept a ledger. Written ledger? Physical book? Every entry logged, dated, signed by them at the time as acknowledgement. They signed acknowledgements? They thought they were receipts. Thank you cards in document form. I told them it was for my records, for tax purposes. They never thought about what those signatures meant. Elise leaned back in her chair. You've been planning this for years. No, I've been documenting for years. I started planning when I realized they saw me as an ATM with an expiration date. My phone lit up again. Group text this time. Grant, Tessa, and Owen. Grant. We need to meet. Tonight, all of us. Let's stop playing games and talk face to face. Tessa. Please, Dad. We're family. Whatever's wrong, we can fix it. Owen. I don't even know what's happening anymore. Can someone explain what we're supposed to have taken? I showed the screen to Elise. She read it and shook her head. Owen's playing dumb, she said. He was in the storage unit twice. Both times after midnight. Both times when Grant wasn't there. He was checking to make sure Grant didn't screw him. Probably. But now he's pretending he doesn't know anything. Classic Owen. Stay in the middle, play both sides, end up with everyone's sympathy. I typed a response. The lockbox contains documents stored in Unit 447 at Queen City Storage. You removed it December 18th at 2:14 a.m. using Paige's keycard. Return it to Halloway's office by 11:47 a.m. tomorrow with all contents intact. That's the only conversation we need. I sent it. 3 dots appeared immediately. Someone was typing. Tessa. We don't have any lockbox. We don't know what you're talking about. Grant. This is a setup. You're accusing us of something we didn't do so you can justify cutting us out. Owen, why would we take your stuff? That doesn't even make sense. Elise reached over and took my phone, typed something fast, and sent it before I could see what she'd written. My phone buzzed with responses almost immediately. Grant, that's a lie. Tessa, where did you get that? Owen, who's been spying on us? I looked at Elise. What did you send them? She turned her screen around. The image showed a security camera screenshot. Timestamp, December 18th, 2:14 a.m. Location, Unit 447, Queen City Storage. The image was grainy but clear enough. 2 people in the hallway outside the storage unit. One tall, one shorter, both wearing dark jackets. The shorter one was holding something rectangular. Is that real? I asked. Completely real. I pulled it from the facility security system last week. Why didn't you show me before? Because I wanted to see what they'd do when they thought you only had the keycard log. They could have explained away a keycard, claimed it was borrowed or stolen, but video with faces, that's harder. My phone was exploding now. Call after call. Text after text. The messages were getting frantic. Paige, that could be anyone. You can't even see faces clearly. Brett, security footage can be doctored. This proves nothing. Tessa, who gave you access to that footage? That's a violation of privacy. Grant, I'm calling Holloway. This is harassment. Elise closed her laptop and stood up. Time to go. Where? Storage facility. Let's see if they try to go back. We left the coffee shop and drove across town. Queen City Storage was a massive complex off Eastway Drive, one of those places with hundreds of identical units in long concrete hallways. The office was closed, but the access gates were open for customers with codes. We didn't go straight home. Elise drove to the lake instead, to a park we'd gone to when the kids were small. Picnic tables and walking paths and a view of water that made everything feel less complicated. It was empty on a Tuesday afternoon in December, just us and the cold wind. We sat at a table near the shore. Elise had brought coffee in a thermos, still hot from this morning. We drank it and watched the water and didn't say much. They'll try to fight it, Elise finally said. I know. They'll hire lawyers, contest the loans, claim undue influence or diminished capacity. Let them try. They might find something, some technicality we missed. I looked at her. Do you really think we missed anything? She smiled. No, I triple-checked everything. But they'll try anyway. Because that's what people do when they've lost. They fight harder instead of accepting they were wrong. We finished the coffee. Elise packed up the thermos. We walked along the shore, hands in pockets, breath visible in the air. Do you think they understand? She asked. What they did? Not yet. Right now they're angry. They think we overreacted. They think we're cruel. And later? Maybe they'll understand. Maybe they won't. I'm not sure it matters. It matters to you. I stopped walking, looked out at the water. A few ducks paddled near the shore, unbothered by the cold. I wanted them to be better, I said. I raised them to be better. And somewhere along the way, they learned to value money over people, inheritance over relationships. They learned to see us as assets instead of parents. You can't blame yourself for what they became. Can't I? No, Elise said firmly. You gave them everything, education, opportunities, support. You bailed them out of mistakes, you helped them build lives, and they decided that wasn't enough. That's on them, not you. Maybe I helped too much. Maybe I made it too easy. Or maybe they're just who they are. People make choices, Dean. You made yours, they made theirs. We walked back to the car. The sun was starting to lower, winter afternoon fading toward evening. Elise drove us home. The house looked the same driveway, same lawn, same mailbox we'd put up 15 years ago. But it felt different. Lighter, like Elise had said, like a weight I'd been carrying had finally been set down. Inside, we turned our phones back on. They exploded with messages, calls, texts, voicemails. I scrolled through without reading them closely. The tone had shifted from angry to desperate to resigned. Grant, we need to talk. Please. Tessa, I don't understand how it came to this. Owen, call me when you're ready. And then, hours later, a different kind of message from Jade. Dean, it's Jade. I know you're angry. You have every right to be. I just want you to know that not everyone was on board with what happened. Some of us tried to say something. We were told it wasn't our place. I'm sorry I didn't try harder. I showed it to Elise. She read it twice. Smart, she said. She's separating herself from the group, positioning herself as the dissenting voice. Is she lying? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Does it matter? I thought about that. Not really. The damage is done. We made dinner. Simple stuff, pasta and salad. We ate in the living room with the TV on, some documentary about glaciers that neither of us paid attention to. Elise scrolled through her laptop. I read a book I'd started months ago and never finished. It felt normal, quiet, like life before everything got complicated. At 8 p.m., the doorbell rang. We looked at each other. Don't answer, Elise said. Might not be them. Who else would come without calling? I went to the door anyway, looked through the peephole. Tessa stood on the porch, alone. No Brett, no siblings, just her in a winter coat that looked too thin for the temperature. I opened the door. She looked terrible. Red eyes, blotchy skin, hair pulled back in a messy knot. I'm not here to fight, she said immediately. I just want to talk. Can I come in? Elise is here. That's fine. I want to talk to both of you. I stepped back. Tessa came inside, hesitant like she wasn't sure she was allowed anymore. We went to the living room. Elise closed her laptop. Tessa sat on the edge of the couch, hands twisted together. I don't know where to start, she said. Start anywhere, Elise replied. Tessa took a breath. I'm sorry, for all of it. For the storage unit. For the messages. For everything. Are you sorry you did it, or sorry you got caught? I asked. Both, she said. I know that's not the answer you want, but it's the truth. I thought we were helping. I really did. I thought you were making bad decisions and someone needed to step in. What bad decisions? The charity donations, the business sale talk, the way you just give money to anyone who asked. We gave money to people who needed it. You gave $50,000 to a homeless shelter, Tessa said. In one donation. That's money that could have been saved, invested, protected. For who? For us, for the family, for... She stopped. I'm doing it again, aren't I? Yes, Elise said. Tessa's shoulders slumped. I don't know how to turn it off. The calculating, the planning. I've spent so long thinking about financial security that I forgot how to think about anything else. That's not our responsibility to fix, I said. I know, I'm not asking you to fix it. I'm just trying to explain. She looked at me. Do you remember when I was 16? When my friend Ashley's dad lost his job? Vaguely. Ashley's family lost everything. House, cars, college savings. They moved to a tiny apartment across town. Ashley had to switch schools. I watched her entire life fall apart because her dad didn't plan well enough. Lots of people lose jobs. It doesn't mean they didn't plan. I know that now, but at 16, I learned that money is the only thing that keeps you safe, and I've been terrified of losing it ever since. So you decided to control ours. I decided to protect it, which I know sounds the same, but in my head, it was different. I thought if I could just make sure everything was organized, documented, secured, then nothing bad could happen. No surprises, no disasters. Elise leaned forward. Tessa, we weren't going to have a disaster. We're financially stable. The business is profitable. We have retirement accounts, life insurance, health coverage. We're not Ashley's dad. But you could be. Anyone could be. One bad investment, one medical crisis, one what? I asked. One choice you don't approve of? Tessa went quiet. That's what this is really about, I continued. Not protecting us. Controlling what we do with our own money. You're right, she said quietly. You're completely right, and I don't know how to fix what I broke. You can't, Elise said. Not today. Maybe not ever. But you can stop breaking more things. How? Stop trying to manage everyone. Stop treating love like a contract. Stop seeing relationships as risks to be mitigated. Tessa was crying now. Not the loud crying from this morning. Quiet tears that just kept coming. I don't know if I can, she said. This is who I've been for so long. Then you'll lose more than an inheritance, I said. You'll lose the people who actually cared about you. She nodded, stood up. Thank you for letting me say this. Are you going back to Brett? Elise asked. I don't know. He's angry. Says you tricked us. Says we should sue. Will you? No. What would be the point? You didn't trick us. We tricked ourselves. She walked to the door, stopped with her hand on the knob. For what it's worth, she said, I do love you, both of you. I just don't know if I know how to show it anymore. Then she left. Elise and I sat in the quiet for a long time. Do you believe her? Elise asked. I believe she believes it. Whether it changes anything, I don't know. Do you want it to? I want her to be happy, but I don't want to be her project anymore. We went to bed early. The house felt bigger without the constant buzz of phones, the weight of messages waiting to be answered. I slept better than I had in months. In the morning, I woke to find Elise already in the kitchen, laptop open again. "They're moving fast," she said. "Who?" "Grant. He hired an attorney, filed a challenge to the loan terms, claims the collateral agreements were unconscionable and unenforceable." "Will it work?" "No, but it'll be expensive and time-consuming. Holloway estimates 6 months of legal back and forth before it gets dismissed." "Can we just settle? Give him something to make it go away?" "We could, but should we?" I thought about that, poured coffee, sat down. "No," I said finally. "If we give in now, we teach them that fighting works, that they can take what they want and negotiate down when they get caught. Even if it costs us more in legal fees than just settling?" "Even then." Elise nodded. "Good, because I'm not ready to give in either." We spent the rest of the morning going through documents with Holloway on video chat, confirming filings, reviewing evidence chains, making sure everything was airtight. At noon, Owen called. I almost didn't answer, but Elise nodded. "Hello?" "Dad, it's Owen. I'm not calling to fight. I just wanted to let you know I'm out." "Out of what?" "The legal fight. Grant's challenge, the whole thing. I'm not participating." "Why not?" "Because you were right. We screwed up, and I'm tired of pretending we didn't." I put the phone on speaker so Elise could hear. "What are you going to do?" I asked. "Pay back the loan. It'll take me a few years, but I can do it. I already talked to my bank about a personal loan." "You don't have to do that. The 30-day deadline is for formal default. If you're making good faith payments—" "I want to do it," Owen interrupted. "I want to pay it back properly. Not because I have to, but because I should have done it in the first place." Elise and I looked at each other. "Okay," I said. "We can work out a payment plan." "Thank you. And Dad?" "I'm sorry. Not sorry I got caught. Sorry I did it. Sorry I didn't trust you to make your own decisions. Sorry I listened to Grant instead of talking to you directly." "I appreciate that." "I don't expect anything in return. I'm not trying to get back in the will or whatever. I just wanted you to know." He hung up. Elise looked thoughtful. "He sounds sincere," she said. "He does." "Do you trust it?" "Not yet. But maybe someday." The rest of the week passed in a blur of legal documents and strategic planning. Holloway filed responses to Grant's challenge. We met with accountants to restructure the business sale. We had dinners with the employees who'd be taking over, good people who'd worked for me for years and actually cared about the company. No more calls from Tessa. A few texts from Paige that were clearly fishing for information. Brett tried to schedule a meeting, but Holloway shut it down. And through it all, the thing I kept thinking was, I should feel worse about this. I should feel guilty, sad, something. But I didn't. I felt free. On Friday evening, we drove back to the lake. Same park, same table, same view. The sun was setting, winter light turning the water gold. "Do you think we'll ever have a normal relationship with them again?" Elise asked. "I don't know. Maybe Owen. Tessa possibly, if she figures herself out. Grant? I doubt it. And the grandkids?" We hadn't talked about that part. Grant had 2 kids, teenagers now. Tessa had 1, still in elementary school. Owen didn't have any. "I miss them," I admitted. "But I'm not going to negotiate access through their parents. If they want to see us, they know where we live." "They're kids. They don't get to make those decisions." "Then I guess we wait until they're not kids anymore." Elise was quiet. Then, "This is what we chose." "Yes." "And you're okay with it?" "I'm okay with it," I said. "Are you?" She smiled. "I'm better than okay. I'm relieved." We sat until the sun went down and the temperature dropped and we had to go home to warm up. But for those few minutes, watching the water and the sky and the world that kept moving regardless of family drama, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. The legal challenge dragged on for 3 weeks. Grant's attorney filed motions, Holloway filed responses, and the whole thing moved through the system with the speed of cold honey. But it was theater, and everyone knew it. The evidence was too solid, the contracts too clear, the documentation too thorough. On January 18th, the judge dismissed the challenge with prejudice. Grant had 30 days to begin repayment or face foreclosure on the collateralized assets. He didn't call, didn't text, just went silent. Tessa reached out once more, asking if there was any way to help Grant without getting involved in the legal fight. Elise told her no. After that, silence from her too. Only Owen kept in touch. Brief texts every few days, updates on his payment plan, questions about business stuff that weren't about money, small attempts at rebuilding something. Then February arrived, and with it, a complication I hadn't anticipated: the marina. I'd forgotten about the boat. Not forgotten exactly, but pushed it to the back of my mind along with all the other assets that Grant thought he had access to. It was a small cabin cruiser, nothing fancy, kept at a marina on Lake Norman. I'd bought it 15 years ago and barely used it. Grant had taken the kids out on it, hosted a few parties, treated it like it was his. Legally, it was mine, titled in my name, docked under my account. But Grant had the access code for the dock gate and the keys to the boat. Elise got a call from the marina manager on February 4th. "Mrs. Morrison, this is Kyle at Harbor Point Marina. I'm calling about your boat." "What about it?" "Your son's been down here trying to take it out, but his code isn't working anymore, and when I told him the account was flagged for owner authorization only, he got pretty upset." Elise put the phone on speaker. "How upset?" "He tried to force the gate. Security had to escort him off the property. He's claiming you changed the access illegally, and he's calling the police." "Let him call," Elise said. "The boat is titled to us. He has no legal right to access it." I figured, but I wanted to give you a heads up. He seemed pretty determined. "Thank you, Kyle. If he comes back, call the police yourself." She hung up, looked at me. "He's trying to take the boat," she said. "I heard." "Why? What's the point? It's worth maybe $30,000. That doesn't even cover his loan balance." "It's not about the money. It's about control. He can't take the business, can't take the house, can't take anything we actually care about. But he can take the boat, and that makes him feel like he won something." Should we stop him? I thought about that. Part of me wanted to. Part of me wanted to drive to the marina right now and make sure every access point was locked down. But another part of me was just tired. "Let him try," I said. "If he actually manages to take the boat, we'll report it stolen. If he doesn't, we'll know he's just thrashing around. And if he damages it trying? Then he damages it. It's a boat. We don't use it anyway." But Elise wasn't convinced. I could see her mind working, the same careful planning that had built our case against the lockbox. "If he takes the boat," she said slowly, "he'll use it as leverage. He'll claim we gifted it to him years ago. He'll say it was always his, just titled in your name for insurance purposes. He'll create a whole narrative. We have the title. He'll have possession, and possession is 9/10 of the law. That's not actually how property law works. No, but it's how public opinion works, and Grant will make this public. He'll tell everyone we're taking back gifts, that we're being cruel to our own children over petty revenge." She was right. Grant would absolutely do that. "So what do you want to do?" I asked. "I want to beat him there." We drove to the marina that afternoon. Lake Norman was cold and gray, February wind making the water choppy. The marina was mostly empty, boats covered for winter, docks quiet. Kyle met us at the office. He was young, mid-20s, probably working this job while finishing school. He looked nervous. "Mr. and Mrs. Morrison, I'm really sorry about earlier. Your son was just so insistent." "Don't apologize," Elise said. "You followed protocol. That's exactly what you should have done. He said he'd be back with proof of ownership, legal documents. He won't have any, but if he shows up again, call us immediately, and call the police if he tries to force access." "Yes, ma'am." We walked down to the dock where our boat was moored. Slip 47, end of sea dock. The boat looked sad under its canvas cover, neglected and forgotten. "When's the last time we took this out?" I asked. "Your retirement party," Elise said. 8 years ago. Has anyone used it since? Grant brings his family out a few times a year. His kids like it." I looked at the boat, thought about those kids, Grant's teenagers who I hadn't seen in months. They probably had good memories here, summers on the water, feeling like they had something special. "Maybe we should just give him the boat," I said. Elise stared at me. "What?" "Not as a concession, not as backing down, but as a last gift, something that's actually his." "After everything he did?" "Because of everything he did. He's going to lose the house, the business leverage, everything he thought he had. Let him keep the boat. Let his kids keep their memories." Elise was quiet for a long time, looking out at the water. "You're too soft," she said finally. "Maybe. He doesn't deserve it." "No, but his kids do." She sighed. "You're going to make me be the reasonable one, aren't you?" "Is that a yes?" "It's a maybe. Let me think about it." We walked back to the parking lot. As we reached the car, another vehicle pulled in. Silver SUV, Grant's. "Well," Elise said, "here we go." Grant got out. He saw us and stopped. For a second, I thought he might just turn around and leave. But then his jaw set and he walked toward us. "What are you doing here?" he asked. "Checking on our boat," I said. "Your boat?" "Yes. The boat I've been maintaining for 8 years, the boat my kids learned to swim from, the boat that's basically been mine in everything but paperwork. The boat that's titled in my name, insured under my policy, and docked in my marina account." Grant's hands clenched. "You're going to take this too?" "I haven't decided yet." "Haven't decided? Jesus. You've already taken everything else? Why not the boat?" "What did I take, Grant?" "The house, the business, my financial security, my relationship with my family." "I didn't take your house. You used a family loan for the down payment and agreed to collateral terms. I didn't take the business. You tried to take it from me, and I didn't ruin your family relationships. You did that yourself." "By trying to help? By trying to control?" Grant stepped closer, not threatening, but close enough that I could see how tired he looked, how much weight he'd lost, how the expensive clothes couldn't hide the fact that he was falling apart. "I made mistakes," he said. "I know that, but you didn't have to destroy us. You could have talked to us, explained what we did wrong, given us a chance to fix it. You had 24 hours to fix it. That wasn't real time. That was a game, a test we were set up to fail. You set yourself up to fail. You took something that wasn't yours and then lied about it. The 24 hours was just the deadline for consequences you already earned." Grant looked past me to the boat. "I put so much work into that thing. New seats, new canvas. I had the engine rebuilt last summer. Send me the receipts. I'll reimburse you." "I don't want reimbursement. I want what's mine." "It's not yours." "Then why did you let me treat it like it was? Why let me invest time and money and memories if you were just going to take it back?" "I didn't take it back. I still have it. I've always had it." "Then what was the point?" Grant's voice cracked. "What was the point of any of this? If you were going to keep everything anyway, why make us go through all of this?" Elise spoke for the first time since Grant arrived. "Because you needed to understand." "Understand what?" "That the things you want aren't things we owe you. That access isn't ownership. That being family doesn't mean you get to take without asking." "We didn't take. You took the lockbox. For safekeeping. Without permission. In the middle of the night. Using access we gave you for emergencies." Grant turned away. Breathed hard. When he turned back, his face had changed. The anger was gone, replaced by something rawer. "I don't know how to fix this," he said quietly. "I don't know what you want from me." "Nothing," I said. "That's what you don't understand. I don't want anything from you. I want you to want nothing from me. I'm your son. And you'll always be. But that doesn't mean I have to fund your life or manage your expectations or pretend you didn't spend 3 years trying to control mine." Grant looked at Elise. "Do you feel the same way?" "Yes," she said. "I watched you discuss power of attorney in your group chat. I watched you plan how to manage us out of our own decisions. I watched you treat us like assets to be controlled instead of people to be respected. So, yes, I feel exactly the same way." Grant's shoulders slumped. All the fight went out of him. "The boat," he said. "Can I at least take the boat? Please? My kids love it. They don't need to know about the rest of this." I looked at Elise. She looked at the boat, then at Grant, then at me. Finally, she nodded. "On one condition," I said. "Anything. You sign a bill of sale, transfer of ownership, clean and legal. No claims later that it was always yours or that we gifted it years ago. It's a sale for $1, documented and notarized." "Why $1? Why not just give it to me?" "Because a gift implies generosity. This isn't generosity. This is me selling you an asset you want. You pay for it, you own it, and there's no confusion later." Grant hesitated, then nodded. "Okay. And one more thing," Elise added. "You never tell your kids what happened. You don't make us the villains in whatever story you tell them. You don't poison them against us. They're going to ask questions. They're going to wonder why we never see you anymore. Then tell them the truth, that you and I had a disagreement about business and money, that we're working through it, that their grandparents love them even if the adults can't be in the same room right now. That's not the whole truth. It's enough truth for children. The rest is between adults." Grant looked at the boat again. I could see him calculating what it was worth, what he was giving up by agreeing, what he'd have to explain to Paige and his kids. "Okay," he said finally. "I'll sign whatever you want." We went back to the marina office. Kyle printed out a bill of sale. I wrote in the boat details, the purchase price of $1, the date. Grant signed, I signed, Kyle witnessed. "This feels weird," Grant said as he handed over a dollar bill. "It is weird," I agreed. But it's done. Do I still owe you the $50,000? Yes. What if I can't pay it? Then you'll lose the house. We've been over this. But now that I have the boat, can't I sell it to cover? No, Elise interrupted. You wanted the boat for your kids. If you're already thinking about selling it, maybe you shouldn't have it after all. Grant's face went red. I'm not selling it. I'm just asking about options. The option is to pay back the loan according to the terms you agreed to. The boat has nothing to do with that. Fine. Jesus. I'm not selling the boat. We finished the paperwork. Kyle made copies. Grant took his keys and his bill of sale and walked back to his SUV without another word. Elise and I stood in the parking lot and watched him drive away. That was generous, she said. Was it? You gave him something, after everything. I didn't give him anything, he paid for it. For $1. Still a sale, still documented, still clean. You know what I mean. I did, and maybe she was right. Maybe it was generous, but it also felt necessary, not for Grant's sake, for mine, for the part of me that was tired of being angry, tired of fighting, tired of being the villain in someone else's story, even when I was right. We drove home in silence. That evening, Owen texted. Heard Grant got the boat. Thanks for that. His kids were really upset about losing it. I didn't respond. Just set the phone down and tried not to think about grandchildren I might never see again. The next morning, Halloway called. Grant's attorney filed a motion to modify the repayment terms, asking for extended time and reduced monthly payments. Will the judge grant it? Unlikely. The original terms were already generous, but it'll add another few weeks to the process. Just let me know when it's final. Will do. Oh, and Dean? Yeah? You did a kind thing yesterday. With the boat. How do you know about that? Kyle called to verify the bill of sale. He said Grant looked like you'd saved his life. I sold him a boat for $1. That's not saving anyone. Sometimes, Halloway said, the smallest gestures matter the most, especially when they're unexpected. He hung up. I sat with that thought for a while, wondered if Grant would see it that way, if he'd tell his kids that Grandpa gave him the boat, if he'd spin it into evidence that we weren't really that bad, or if he'd just take it and move on, relieved that he got something after losing everything else. I never found out, because 2 weeks later, everything changed again. The storage facility called.